You know, when Sean did that, as someone who's had a gun in his mouth, it hit hard. And that was where, you know, you really evaluate you during that time. And then when it happens to someone that you are close with and you care about deeply, you get to that point where you're like, again, the same emotions and the same depletion of everything hits. And it was, I mean, I'm still in it to a certain extent, but there were some years where, you know, I thought about suicide. If not daily, it was often.
You mentioned that, and you said you can't believe you just said that out loud. But while we're there, would you want to maybe talk about a little bit about that, and maybe what point in your life was that? And you know, I know some of the, was it all right around? I guess it was around divorce and stuff like that. So probably in the last few years.
Definitely right before. I mean, that may have precipitated, so trigger warning if anybody's out there, but also don't do it. It's a very, very permanent solution to a temporary problem, and that is a lot of what I tell the kids that I teach. Because they come in, there's a lot of kids who are suicidal, and if you've never been on the edge of that cliff to where you could fall, and which I could have fallen very quickly. We did a Friday night movie, and things were going sideways with my marriage, and had been for years and years and years. I mean, 10 years I slept downstairs. It was just wrong, and ultimately I was ruining my children's version of what marriage should look like. A spouse, you know, this is what it should look like. And I realized at a certain point I have to do this. I have to be done. And I couldn't bring myself to not be around my kids. I mean, whether it was whatever the custody is or whatever, right? So the mindset is really messed up. Because I went from, I can't be around my kids, even if it's only for one day, I need my babies with me, to, I'm gonna kill myself. Well, then you're not around your kids at all. But you really aren't in the best mindset.
But the mindset in that is that, it'll be better though. It'll be better off for everybody.
They'll be better.
They'll be better off because they won't have to deal with this, and I don't have to deal with
a dysfunctional marriage. They won't see a dad who works.
They'll be sad, but they'll get over it.
Dad works 16 hours a day. He's not going to be around anyway, so might as well not worry about it, you know. So I don't know really why it just happened to be. I was really down, and I don't ever consider myself a depressed person.
I've said that exact.
I've never been one of those like, I don't want to get out of bed.
But I think once you get down though, it just keeps those thoughts, they keep stacking, and then it's a hard way to get out. It's hard to get out of it.
For sure.
To
100%.
Stop the spin.
Yeah, and it's not I don't want to get out of bed. I'm sad. It's I have to get out of bed. I have to do this. I have to work both jobs. I have to pay the bills. I'm tired.
But you don't want it.
I am tired. I'm not sad. I'm freaking worn the hell out, you know, and so.
Too tired,
I remember opening the garage. This is so visual and vivid, and you erase it if you need to, but I pulled in the garage, and I used to hunt. Pulling in the garage, and right as I was turning the lights off, I noticed my gun case in the corner, and I just had this stupid, like, just do it. You know what? Be done. Be done. And if you knew my house, I have a shop where I keep all of my equipment and everything, and I grabbed the gun, I loaded it, and just went walking straight out. I looked around like, okay, I don't have to take care of any of this crap anymore. I had this moment of,
really, like this will be a relief.
The weight, there's no more weight, you know. And I remember, I went in and I sat down and I grabbed a pen or a marker, a Sharpie, a big marker, and I wrote back, do not open this door, call the sheriff. And then I was going to put it on the outside of my shop, lock the door, and be done. You know, and to this day, I couldn't find any tape. What the hell's a tape? I just needed 2 pieces of tape. And it was me searching for the tape
kind of derailed
that I was like, what are you doing? I went from pure despair, I'm done, I'm tired, to pure hate for me.
Yeah.
And I used it on myself, and that self-talk just, I was down. But I also, at that point, if you want to look at positive, I try to look at positive. There's, I made a decision. And then you can work on other stuff. Sure. And then you can work through whatever it may be. But, make a change. Yeah. And that's what, if there was a silver lining to kill yourself, it was make a change. And I did the next day.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't find the tape.
Me too.
Truthfully,
Here's the funniest part is there was tape. I
Yeah.
had a paint station from when we would fix cars or whatever, and it has masking tape all over. Obviously I wasn't supposed to do it. But I did find a new, happier version of life, and that's where I get to be. And I just look at what makes you get up every day, and what makes you change your mindset. Because mine is now it's gratitude.
Yeah.
Like only
gratitude.
And it's something that it hits hard a lot of days. I actually just recently, you forget how good we have.
Yeah.
We really do. I have murderers. As a small story, sorry, I'm just spewing diarrhea of the mouth.
Yeah, no, you're not spewing anything.
So,
you're over there with kids like that.
And for 3.5 years, I've had one kid. He's a refugee. He's accused of murder, and he's one of my favorite kids in the whole world. I told him I would adopt him. If he could get out and get away from the gang life, I would adopt him. No questions asked. Just a fun kid. But he's been in my system for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
He came in at 15, and we had a yard. They call it a yard where you could go outside. Well, apparently it wasn't up to state standards or whatever. So for 3 years, they haven't been able to see the sun.
Oh wow.
They have a courtyard probably about as big as your living room right here. Yeah. Where they can go out and maybe get some fresh air, but they hadn't seen the sun. And they were finishing up some stuff, and I went to the leader of the state facility, I don't know, APD, I think they call her, and I was like, we need to get these kids outside. She goes, so it's not ready. I said, I'm a landscaper, I'll fix it for free. We need to get these kids outside. And I walked outside. You should have seen these kids, man. There's 8 of them, and I'm really close with all of them, really close. They come to me, and they were like this.
They've never seen it before.
This little Mexican kid, Charlie, we used to battle. I've known him since he was 11 years old. He'd been in and out of the system, finally ended up killing somebody, and I still know Charlie. Charlie looks at me and he goes, I'm gonna touch the grass. And I was like, what? Yeah. And he did, he's got his hands, even now I'm emotional. I was emotional then. And I'm emotional.
Well, you talk about gratitude, thinking about that, we all have a lot of stuff to be grateful for, but even those kids, just grateful that they can touch the grass. That gives a lot of perspective for the rest of us. Yeah.
It nailed me.
Should be thinking.
It hit me so hard that I got a tattoo.
Oh,
I'm not kidding. It nailed me. Not. I put it in Japanese so that it's for me, but you know what I mean. But it was like you do as time moves on. We tend to take for granted things that you barely noticed. The value of things you barely noticed. Sure. Touching the grass. Yeah. Going outside. Yeah. Having the sunshine on your face for 30 minutes.
Those are all things you just expect.
I don't think about that, but I do now.
And people out there, it's maybe that's part of this is hopefully the gratitude if we realize what we are grateful for, what we should be grateful for. Hopefully that, and what we have, even when we have kids, families, even if it's not perfect, we still have a lot to keep moving forward for rather than giving up on. So one of the taglines, or the tag that we talked about, is vulnerability is strength. But clearly you've been vulnerable today, and I can speak to that because I've had to be vulnerable to even do this because I don't like it, but it makes you a little bit stronger. It makes us think about. It makes me think about other things and not worry about my problems. It makes me worry about other things. So, want to thank you. Grateful that you grateful that you did this for us, brother. Appreciate you. We love you.
Love you back.
And then.
So
that's
it's
the thing.
tough, and I get it.
from this, you know, you mentioned Sean. I mean, for this whole thing, this experience. I mean, I know my sister-in-law has heard from a lot of people. I don't know, anonymously, or at least to me anyway. I don't know who any, but there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of people that are in that, have been in that situation, and might still be, you know, and that's kind of the whole point of this. And they all said some of these things that we've done have helped them, which. Because then you know, hey, wait, I'm not the only person.
That's kind of the only reason I'm here. Because I told Matt,
well,
it's like no one wants to hear.
Nobody wants to
from me.
sit
and he's like, there might be one.
They do.
You know,
they
if
do.
there's one, then.
But it's not that fun if you're sitting in these chairs. Usually, to be the person that's doing it.
It's awkward for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But it's helpful, and that's because you know, my wife will tell you that that's not me. You know, it's not my thing at all. You know, if there's not a camera on, then I don't. But I'm not. It's not my thing to usually have a big long chat while somebody films me.
Yeah.
So
I've never done this. So.
No.